you start off your first and last name and your title?
Yeah, my name is Zachary Almaguer, and I'm the Director of Communications for Switchpoint.
So first, can you just tell me a bit about what we're looking at behind you?
Yeah, what you're seeing behind us really is opportunity. It's permanent homes. The project you see behind us, we call Red Hills. And in partnership with a number of entities, the Utah Housing Corporation applying for low-income housing tax credits, partners like American Express and Richmond Capital, and even here locally with Zions Bank through construction loans, we're developing 110 new units of permanent homes.
That's great. And what is the cost going to look like for these homes?
You know, when we talk about affordable in Washington County, I think we've seen home prices rise, and I think we've seen people struggle to be affordable. In this instance, it means for all of the residents, rents well below $700. They're based on the local average incomes of the areas, and so in many instances, the rents will be just under $700, if not even lower, approaching $500, and even under $500 in some instances.
How did this project come to be? You mentioned some local partners, as well as kind of what went into envisioning this?
You know, Switchpoint provides what we call comprehensive solutions. For some of our clients, that means joining us at our food pantry. For others, it means at our community center and shelter. But the truth is, the problem of homelessness only is solved with a home. And so what made this project come to be was really the emerging need that we see here. A lot of individuals needing an opportunity to have a home. So we're so fortunate to have partners like the City of St. George that help us with other operations and were instrumental in helping us coordinate the support that we needed for this facility.
Do you believe that the cost is truly affordable for our area?
You know, with average home prices in Washington County, oftentimes well above $500,000 or even $600,000, and wages being well below that to afford those units, I think that when you're talking about rents that are in the $500 to $600 range, that's extremely affordable for what we see here in the county. Rents like that give people the opportunities they need to get back onto their feet, to be able to have a roof over their head, provide for themselves or their families, feel safe at night, and gain that stability.
So you said rent will range like $500 to $700 probably?
Correct, yeah, based on the AMI of the area. I believe the maximum rents for these units are approaching $660.
Does the city have any other affordable housing developments in the works that you're involved in, or should they?
You know, in the past, some residents may be aware of other projects we've worked on, not just specifically with low-income housing tax credits, but affordability and poverty and homelessness in general. There's the Red Hills project, which is a number of units that many in St. George are familiar with. And yes, of course, we believe there should always be more opportunities for affordable housing, not just in Washington County, not just in Utah, but throughout the region. Switchpoint is looking at other solutions for workforce housing and others in areas like Mesquite.
Can you talk a little more to some of the other affordable housing options you're looking at?
Yeah, well, again, and not just affordable housing, but meeting people where they're at in the middle. For instance, in Mesquite, we've had a donor reach out and provide a significant area of land where we'll be seeking and working with the community to provide workforce housing for people who are literally putting in the 40 hours a week, 80 hours every 2 weeks, working the jobs, receiving income, and still struggling to afford or meet ends meet. So, meet the month's end meet. So what we're hoping is projects like that and others will continue to focus on housing with support services as solutions to make sure that the solution sticks.
How much of a dent will this make in the overall affordable housing issue?
It's a massive rising issue that we're seeing here in Utah, but in Washington County, 110 units will mean 110 individuals, 110 families or couples have an opportunity to have a roof over their head and know that they'll have a place to come home to each evening. I think for those 110 families, especially in a small county like Washington, one that's really stuck between that rural and urban environment, that's a significant impact for our area.
Can you share a little bit more about funding?
Yeah, the funding for the project was done through low-income housing tax credits, and those tax credits were applied for and done in partnership with the Utah Housing Corporation. And the loan itself provided by American Express and Richmond Capital funding the initiative for us And here locally, beyond the assistance of the city of St. George in helping us to coordinate, we have Zions Bank down on the boulevard helping to fund and finance the construction loan.
And so overall, you touched on this already, but you think that we could see some more developments like this in our area?
I would hope so. The development you see behind us will be phase 1 completed in late April. We'll have residents moving in May, so we're really excited about that. We have a lot of anxious clients ready to find their permanent home. Phase 2 opens in late July, and I anticipate that will fill up quickly as well. So yes, we absolutely believe there should be more opportunities to create a myriad of solutions for our county when it comes to housing. There isn't going to just be one answer. It's going to take all of us coming together to find it.
What has the demand been like since you announced it?
Well, currently, I think all of the units, I'm told, are filled. I believe the wait list is extremely long. I can get back to you on a specific number, but I do know the demand is there. Just like our family unit opening up, we saw residents move in immediately. Here, it's actually more urgent than that. We have residents already waiting.
And is that for, you mentioned, is that for phase 1 or phase 2?
For phase 1, and the waiting list and inquiries we receive for phase 2, I think that list already may exceed the demand we have. One of our case managers in another story last week mentioned she sees almost 100 clients a week. That was just one of our case managers. That story plays out over almost all of them.
And then is it a flat rate for all these units, or I saw like there's also like vouchers people can have?
Correct. It varies by situation and based on AMI, but the goal is to target based on the percentage of average income in the area. And again, I believe the maximum rent, which I think anybody sitting at home in Washington County right now would agree that $660, just below that $700 mark, is extremely affordable for the area and the situation we have today.
How has having more affordable housing impacted your life?
Oh, it's been great. It saved me from being on the street. So you can't beat that. It didn't cost me anything to stay at the shelter, and it's only $500 a month to stay at our place there or where we're here, where we're leased out.
How do you feel about kind of the price of housing in the area overall?
Oh, well, I've been here, when I moved here in '78, there was 25,000 people in the county. Now there's almost 300,000. So substantially with people moving in, everything's gone up. I mean, it's outrageous for what they want for apartments. It's as bad as Salt Lake, if not worse in some instances. But they keep building them. I mean, there's a bunch of new ones downtown by the historic area, multi-story apartments. And they're really nice, but God, who can afford them? It's $2,000 a month. Are you kidding me? I don't even make $2,000 a month between Social Security and my VA disability, so this has been a godsend.
So has it been more and more difficult as you've been here in affording housing?
For the people outside of here, other people, yeah, I would assume it would be. Yeah, it's tough.
And you said you're retired now, so
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I've been retired since I turned 62, so 17 years ago, 2008 is when I retired. I worked for the city.
So do you believe housing then has gotten less affordable?
Well, it's less affordable for people like veterans. It's a shame that there's homeless veterans. That's all I got to say. Salt Lake makes me sick when I see my guys, when I say my guys, fellow veterans, sleeping on cardboard underneath overpasses or hanging out at parks, and that's just, there's no reason for that. None.
So do you feel that the city needs more affordable housing options?
I do, but I don't see it happening. They keep building homes. I'm wondering where water is going to come from, and that's just for residences. I can't see them keep building multi-story apartment buildings and expecting the locals to be able to afford them. Now, the people moving in like Cayenne and Sun River, a lot of retired military, well, they got pensions and big-time money. They can afford that stuff. But the people that are homeless or minimum income, I mean poverty level or just hair above, no, they can't afford the housing that's being built. So I don't know if they'll continue to do that. They got a new mayor. We have a new mayor. And I don't know if he's going to change his stance on that or slow it down or what's going to take place. I have no idea. But it's in most cases right now for the poverty level and a hair above people, it's out of the picture.
Is there anything you want to see done by the city to help with housing affordability?
I don't know. I know Salt Lake seems to have been converting a lot of buildings to shelters. St. George hasn't done that. Switchpoint was built. Um, the shelter was an established building, but they bought it. So, I haven't seen the city do anything to convert anything to use for free or affordable housing. No, I haven't seen them do anything. But they'll keep building residences for the non-poverty type people, but they haven't seen them convert any empty buildings to anything or eminent domain anything to make them empty so they could use them. So then I don't see them helping people in general, no.
So then would you rather see the city have more establishments like this new one, new buildings like that, or would you rather have more converted of what already exists?
Either way, building new ones might be cost prohibitive. It wasn't for Switchpoint. Of course, that one existed, and this one existed. This was used to be the old roadway in when I moved here in '78, and then it was Motel 6, and then Motel 6 sold it to Switchpoint. So I guess that's converting buildings. And the other one was a troubled youth site, Hawk Academy or something like that back in the day. And so, but that's the only two conversions there've been. Cost prohibitive right now probably would be the main thing is getting it funded to build on purchase ground and build a new one from the ground up. Converting one is not quite as hard financially because all you got to do with anything is gut it and reconfigure it to your needs. But you have the outside, you have the roof over their heads. That's a lot right there.
Is there anything I haven't asked you still want to touch on?
It's not just bad. I told you before that I felt bad about the veteran situation that I see handling in Salt Lake. I don't see the veterans here. There's some homeless, but they're not having to live outdoors. They're getting pointed towards things. 5-County Association of Governments directs them to housing and can get them in at a reasonable rate. And so they're not living on the street, and they shouldn't have to. Like me, you signed a blank check and said, here I am. I'm going to serve my country. The check is blank. Send me where you need me. And we came back, and to have to face that. If I had to face that right from scratch, I would have been in bad shape. So I came back and soon after was married, and then it all worked to the good. But even now, those places from back in those days, I'm sure I lived in San Diego, so you got to believe those have gone up for sure. No getting around it. It's just the way things are. Costs are going up, and they end up getting delivered to the individual.